Hey there, and welcome back to Two Labs Garage. Many of us that have older vehicles, we've got warning lights or idiot lights up in the dash that tell us if we got a problem. But a lot of the cars just don't have a full complement of gauges so we can monitor and see before a light just pops on. And that's a convenience that we'd like to have. And for a lot of vehicles, your option really is just to get the aftermarket gauges, such as these. There's a variety on the market. Clearly choose to pay as much or as little as you want for them. I like the fairly low cost ones that work. Stuart Warner's probably top of the line, but they're expensive. I don't have them. Also, another thing is some of us actually want to keep our idiot lights and have the gauges. And there's not the provisions in these packs, at least never the one I've seen. Anyway, I'm going to do my best to keep the idiot lights and the gauges, put these gauges on my Tempest. Now you can do this on any car, I just so happen to be working on my Tempest. Also, another thing about those is they tend to just look corny. They just don't look right. So I'm also going to be taking some extra steps with mine so they at least don't look out of place in the car. So come with me. We're going to do some gauges, so come with me. We're going to put the gauges in the car, but we're also going to do it just a little snazzier than normal. My Tempest is a fairly basic transportation car out of the 60s. It was not meant to still be on the road today. And I've only seen maybe one or two other Tempests, period, from that time period. At least that weren't made into a GTO clone. And speaking of GTO, I guess if I really wanted to, I could go see if I couldn't track down a GTO instrument cluster. I imagine there's probably got a full complement of gauges up there. Probably not so much on the idiot lights, but I could be wrong. I don't really know what a 64 GTO gauge cluster looks like, but that would be expensive. So, means we're frugal. Expensive is out. Now, some of my other vehicles where the floors, the carpet's dark and the dash is dark and all that, I use all black. Looks fine. Hardly even notice it. But that car, I'm just thinking it's not the best solution. And even though the gauges are black there in the car, I chose to go for white face just because of the color scheme of that car. But we're still going to spruce these up and make them look a little nicer. I chose to use the Bosch because I wanted white face, and the autometers are great gauges, but all the ones I saw, they have this like racing font on them. Just doesn't look the part in my Tempest. Also, the Stuart Warners are just way too expensive. Even though they do have a good vintage look to them, they're just expensive. So I chose to go with the Bosch because the font, see if this shows up well. We'll see. Hopefully it'll focus on. The fonts on the gauges look like kind of go with the car. And also, I mean, it does say Bosch on them. I wish it didn't, but hey. We're doing all this on budget, so why don't we dive in and see if we can't spruce this up a little bit, because right now I think if I put it in straight out of the package, it would corny. Alright, so we're inside my 64 Tempest, looking at the dash. Excuse me. And as you can see, it's pretty basic. You got a blank gauge there, which I think would be a clock on a standard model, or on a upgraded model. I think that would be a clock, but it could be a tack, I'm not sure. And here we got a fuel gauge that I do not trust, and a temperature idiot light at the bottom, speedometer, and over here we got a couple of idiot lights. So as you just saw, that gauge cluster is pretty basic. Ain't a whole lot to it, and it doesn't really give you a whole lot of information about what's going on. Alright, so I got my gauges right here and some directions, some brass fittings, some more brass fittings. I know these go for oil pressure. I guess these go to water temperature. See what I can come up with there. I guess they're for the electrical. And got some bulbs, tubing for the oil pressure, and instructions. But anyway, next thing I'm going to do is get some pliers. I'm going to take the gauges out of the benzil. Alright, so now I'm going to take these channel locks, or vice grips, excuse me. First pliers I found. Take these nuts out. What's this orange tag say? Warning, do not keep tubing, cause damage to the malfunction of gauge. My gauges themselves, actually pretty good to go as is. This benzil here is where we're going to focus our attention for the time being. So let me see if I can't find something to keep all this in so I don't lose everything. And then we'll get to that. Alright, so sometimes I forget that I'm supposed to be filming. I just go work on stuff and just go start working. But anyway, first thing I'm going to do with this benzil, I'm going to scuff it up a little bit using a Scotch-Brite. And that's just kind of makes it so it's not so slickery. The next thing, I'm going to be putting some of this Duplicolor self-etching primer on it. I only use this stuff because, well, it etches into metal by itself. Like I said, self-etching is good for bare metal. Downsides, the only color I've seen it in is this turkey turd green. And I guess that's alright, we'll cover it. Alright, while I'm waiting for the primer to dry, I'm going to come in here and get the oil pressure sending unit out. Alright, so here's the oil pressure sending unit. She's pretty dirty, but we'll clean her up. And I got a specific reason I'm taking it out of the car. So last week, I touched up the paint on the car with this color from Rust-Oleum. It's called Seaside. It's about as close to that paint as I'm going to get without having a can custom mix for me. And yeah, I'm not paying for that. So anyway, just going to take this on my primed benzil. Mist the coat on here. Get it from this side too. I'll get it from all angles. And while I got all that going on, getting dry, I'm going to need to run up to Lowe's real quick. I need to get some stuff on my boat and some stuff for this project. So while we're letting this dry, let's make a trip up to Lowe's. Two Labs Garage on the plumbing aisle at Lowe's. We got a little pressure sensor here. And I have this thing right here that helps if I turn it the right way. This is an 1/8 inch. So now I'm just going to see if I can't find a T. Get y'all down real quick. So what I got going on here is I got the pressure switch with a 1/8 inch threads. Got us a 2-inch nipple. I hope 2 inches is long enough because they're out of 4s. As you can see, there's a comparison of shaft length. I think that would be good. Also found this 1/8 inch all the way around T. That's what that thing is. So what I'm going to do is come off the engine with the nipple into the T and put the sensor on one side and the sending unit to the oil pressure gauge on the other. Alright, so I bring you over the back of the truck now. And here's the thing I made for the water temperature sensor. The gauge will go here. Here's the old sensor. And looking at this, it wouldn't hurt to replace this, but for now I'm going to put this one in. Won't be hard to change, especially after I do this. Now, is this the best possible setup for this? Probably not. But I'm also using the fittings I had around. I'll just show you in case you're thinking of doing the same thing. You have a 1/2 inch close nipple. You have a 1/2 inch all the way around T. A street 90. Another 1/2 inch close nipple. And here you could go either way because they provide the fitting in the set, but I only have one coupling, and that was a reducer from 1/2 to 3/8. Luckily, there's also a 3/8 fitting for the temperature gauge, so that's what I'm going to use there. And the reason I have it all built out like this is because that sensor's pretty long. I mean, it goes that far in. When I had it here, it was actually bottoming out in the 90, so I did it like this. And it's a little bigger than I want, but it'll do the trick. Also went and put some rust reformer paint on it. And now my next thing's to go disassemble this and reassemble it on the car. Now, to do my mock-up, I already removed the old sensor, but we're going to be reusing it at least for now. So now, just to disassemble my contraption, take the close nipple, 1/2 inch, thread that in. Ooh, almost forgot something. I had to go pick up another socket to get my temperature sensor out. I decided while I was out there I'd grab some pipe dope. Now I don't know if this is better or worse than Teflon tape, but it's what I'm doing this time. Now for the T. Go ahead and put the sensor on for the idget light. Tighten her in. Now for the straight 90. Like I said, there's probably about 6 different ways you could do this. I'm just doing what I thought would work with what I had. And now I'm hitting the power steering pump pulley. So I am going to have to loosen the power steering pump and move that out of the way. Hopefully there's enough range of motion for that. I'm going to turn the fan on in a minute, so. Well, unfortunately, I did have to take the power steering pump off to be able to turn this. It's an inconvenience, but okay, so now get the close on. And the reducing coupling. And now the adapter for the temperature gauge. And tighten it up. Let me go find a wrench. Alright, so I've gone ahead, reassembled my gauges. When I bought it, they had the volt one in the middle. I don't remember which two were on the sides. But I arranged it like I did because I was thinking about my line of vision from the driver's seat. The one most likely going to be checking the most likely to give me trouble, water temperature. then oil pressure, then voltage. So that's the reason I laid it out like I did. Also, the white face gauges with the chrome benzels inside this aqua benzel. Sorry, my dog's on the verge of frisbee. I think it looks pretty good. Also, on the line, I miscoated some black on there. In the back corners of the gauges, you'll see I missed a little black there too. That's just to kind of disguise it. We don't want it to look tacky in there. So anyway, I'm about done for the day. Pick this up tomorrow. We're going to install these, and hopefully everything will look good. And also, hey, I may be one of a few people out there that's actually put these in and kept the idiot lights. Alright, so yesterday I went to Lowe's, got the stuff so I could attempt to keep my idiot light and get this oil pressure gauge working, as well as others. So first thing, I'm going to take my nipple, some of this Teflon tape. Seems like I can never remember which way to run it. That's okay. If I do it wrong, I'll get it right eventually. Come on. Alright, and the other side. Now I'm going to take my brass tee, put on here. That's spun on good. Now I'm going to take channel locks. Now let's go ahead and just screwed in. And really hoping we don't have an interference issue with the dipstick. Oh, I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. Now, our pressure switch. Again, go put a little Teflon on it. Is the Teflon really necessary? I don't know. But I don't feel I'm hurting anything by putting it on. I'm going to try to thread this up from the bottom. Alright, so I got the T on for the oil pressure sender. And that, turn a fan on, try to cool things down here a minute. Hey there. So now we're going to take my gauges that I got right here. We're going to figure out where we're going to put them. Now first things first, I'm going to go ahead and stick my temperature gauge thing through the firewall. So anyway, the previous owner of this car had a couple holes drilled here. I'm not positive what he used them for, but I got a pretty good idea. And if I ever just sit down and do stories on cars and their past, I'll have to tell y'all this one because it's good stuff. Remember, this is a one-family car, so I got a pretty good history on this one. So anyway, I decided to run the temperature gauge through that, and all the way up into here. See if I can adjust this light so it helps a little better. And I'm going to put it in there. I'm just going to put a little dope on the threads, or heck, since I might just Teflon tape it. Either way, the reason I'm using the Teflon tape this time instead of a dope is because, well, it's an arm's reach. And the dope it's not. So anyway, push that in there. That's the sensor. Tighten her down. Gonna have to go get an opening wrench. That's alright, and no big deal. And also I'll point out the connecting tab on this old sensor, it's messed up. It's not plugging into the plug. So what I'm going to do is, just for now, I'm going to use this as a plug so I don't leak coolant, but I'm going to order a new sensor. It just won't be in time for this video. So anyway, there's one. All I got to do is tighten that down. I might wait till I come up to do the oil pressure to tighten. Alright, next on my agenda is the oil pressure line, which is this clear plastic tubing. And I am going to send that through the firewall as well. Easier said than done. Keeps wanting to cool up on me, which I get. Alright, so back up under the hood we are. And the oil pressure line, as we can see over there, has come through the firewall. Now, on the T I put in yesterday, it comes with a couple transition pieces, so depending on what size ports you got, you can use the correct stuff. Wrap my Teflon on there and screw that in. Oh, come on. I'm right-handed. I got no choice but to work with my left hand right this second, so it's a little difficult. But you put your nut on there, your retaining nut, and then you put this ferrule on here. And that's so it compresses and holds the pressure and all. So push that in, push the ferrule down, tighten this in. I'm going to leave it loose just for the time being because I'm going to need to come back with a wrench and tighten everything. Right now I'm just kind of mocking it up. Alright, so the voltmeter, I want it to run on switch power so it's not just always on. So what I did is I went up in the dash. I found all these wires have been disconnected over the years because, well, the radio that's in here isn't hooked to anything. And I'm eventually going to put one of those retro sound units in there. So I don't have any qualms about splicing it into the switch power for the radio. Now, some people don't like using twist connecting wire nuts on vehicles. However, I'm going to use one right now because A, it will give me a good connection, and B, when I come back and put my vintage sound radio in here, or retro sound, whatever they're called, I'm going to want to get into this connection and get my switch power off that too. So anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to double check and make sure I have a positive and negative post right, and now I'm going to put some nuts on them. I got this, I'll show you, the black wire is made up the same kind of way, but I got this white wire. But it's actually some wire I cut off from when I installed the ceiling fan. They have a whole bunch of wire up in the tops in case you put a long pole to hang them from. And I didn't, so this is some extra ceiling fan wire that I put the ends on. And I've got it poked through the firewall. I'm going to try to find a good grounding spot. I may come back under here and find one, but anyway, that's next on this. But like I said, I'm going to get online and I'm going to double check, make sure I have positive hook to positive, negative hook to negative. Okay, now just so you know, on these Bosch gauges there's a little red area under here. I don't know if these lighting conditions it's a little hard to see, but there is a positive and negative symbol. And I did have it right to begin with, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to tighten up positive and the negative. Alright, now I guess the next thing would be get this end of the oil pressure line on. It's all coiled up. Alright, and just like under the hood, put your nut on. Well, come on. Things can be a little stubborn. Little devil you. There we go. Now where I put that ferrule at? There it is. Ferrule on here. There we go. Put that down in the gauge.
Slide the ferrule down and the nut on it. Now what would be a good idea was, while I had everything out, confirm the size of that nut. I could grab a wrench. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this, and then onto the nut step. 3/8 it is. That's good. So I'm just going to tighten her up. Make sure we got good and tight in here, because that is a compression fitting. Yeah. Now comes the fun part, mounting it. Up under the dash, you can see over the years some people have put some holes in here, and there's some down here that appear to be factory holes. So my things, I'm going to figure out which ones of these I like. Hopefully I won't have to drill any new ones, and get the gauges hung. There now. Those gauges, well, Aftermarket, look the part. Now I still got all this rigmarole I can neaten out with a zip tie. I just want to get everything attached good first, and then I'll get the links right and go about putting some zip ties on it, get them out of sight. And just so you can see, here's what it looks like from my driving position. So I got fuel and speed up here. I got my idiot lights, and I actually found a clock on eBay I'm thinking of getting, but that'll be for another time. But there's my gauges down there, and I gotta say I'm pretty happy with how they look. They do seem to just kind of go with the car. Alright, so back up under the hood. Hope my fan's not making too much noise, but gotta tighten this oil pressure thing up now. This is why I left everything loose, so I could have adjustment. But now it's time to tighten everything down. Dipstick's in my way. Alright. I think I can put that back now. Just never know, I might need it for this. Alright, so the nuts finger tight now. And what's going on inside that nut is it's actually crushing that ferrule, and that will create the compression to seal it. Oops, I hope that wasn't too much. That's still, I'm going to have it. Yep. Well, for crying in the mud. Well, I guess that's why they tell you not to over tighten these things. Alright. Just stand by. Alright, so the fan you're hearing, yeah, that's it. Anyway, back to what I'm doing. For my Falcon, that's got kind of an old school gauge in it for oil pressure, but I want to try to reuse the lines just all disintegrated. So I bought this new line. Now, what I'm doing right now is, because I broke that fitting, I'm going to rob Peter to pay Paul. Use one out of here. And between now and when I get around to doing the one on the Falcon, I should be able to come up with another. I got my autometer fittings on there, got the stuff changed over I needed to, got it tightened down this time to the proper ooga-doogas. Now, over on the water pump, or not the water pump, but water temperature fitting, get that to the proper ooga-doogas, or something close to it. Try to route this a little better. I don't want it sitting on the manifold or anything. That could be bad. So, alright. There's that. That's hooked up. Now, the only thing left is I gotta figure out where I want to ground my, what do you call this? Ground wire, I guess. So, see, I got some choices. Just need a good ground. What could there be? There's a ground strap right there. That'll probably work pretty good. What we got here? Oh, there we go. So just loosen up a little bit. put some kind of terminal on the end of this, and we'll hook it up. Alright, so now we got the ground on there. Everything should work. All I gotta do now is tidy up and install the lights. I almost forgot about that. Back up under here, I've made this wiring harness for the lights. So first off, just try to keep tangles down. I'm going to insert the bulbs. There's 1, 2. Alright, so I got them in. Now for my ground, we established a pretty good one for the amp meter. So I'm just, since there's still a lug here, put that wire on there. I got another nut right here. So go ahead and put that on. Hopefully I've still got my nut driver in here. That'd be convenient. Yep. I do still have my nut driver. Alright, so that's in pretty tight. Now for the hot wire. One of the things that was dangling, or at least was, I don't know where it went to, but it was here earlier. Nonetheless, one of the things dangling was the light bulb for the HVAC panel. So we know that's tied in. If I could just find it again. Well, where did you? There you are. And I'm once again going to use this black wire. I don't need quite that much. Let me clip it down. But I do want to leave some extra. That. Now this time, I'm going to use a suitcase connector. These things are kind of neat if you're just trying to splice wire off something. Take the new wire, put it there. Take the old one. Actually, I'll do this first so it holds it. Take that, put it there. Put your new wire in there. Make sure you hold that tight. Take a set of pliers or dikes or something. And push it in. Now that piece of metal goes through the insulators, or both, and the wire will transfer power over. Then just snap that over, and you're done. Now, this car, I think I need to change the headlight switch to get the dash lights to work. I think this is one of the ones that has some corrosion or something. So if the dash lights don't work, I'm not going to be entirely surprised. Let's see if I can put this back in. That's good enough. And now, just going to pull everything up here. Try to tidy up a little bit. Alright, so there we go. I got the wire zip tied up. Get that one up there too. I just missed one. So it's pretty clean. Down there we still got a few wires showing. But I'm going to see if I got some loom around somewhere, some black loom to wrap them with. If not, I'll get some when I go out again. Now, I still need to reconnect my power steering pump, but for right now I just got the belt removed. So you see, we're showing voltage. That's 13 volts. Oil pressure's climbing. And I wouldn't expect to have any temperature right now. And just because I'm in the garage, I'm not going to let it run long enough to get to operating temperature. As you can see, the voltage is where it should be. Oil pressure, 35, not bad. Temperature, like I said, I wouldn't expect anything right now. Alright, so that's going to wrap up this gauge project. So I have working gauges, and I kept my idget lights,
And, well, I'm pretty sure that the lights would work if the dash lights that were already there worked, which they don't. But that's another project for another time. Future video topic. But nonetheless, like I said, I want to try to see if I can't get some black aluminum put on that. I think I got some, but I can't quite put my finger on where. It might be somewhere like that. So, anyway, accomplish what I set out to accomplish. Let's see what we got over in viewer's vehicle. Alright, so this week's viewer's vehicle got a message from Ben, who has a 1986 Ford F-150 3/4 ton suspension truck. He says this truck is one of the last vehicles Ford made with a carburetor. The new body style was released the next month and was solely fuel injected. This truck was purchased from the original owner's grandson, and it's only got 100,000 miles on it, but runs and sounds like it might have high idle hours. Well, then I appreciate you sharing the truck with us, and honestly I rode up with Ben when he got this truck, and he wanted my opinion because I've had several bull noses myself over the years, and I told him when we looked at it, I said, man, if you don't buy this truck, I am. Well, he bought it, and he's had a lot of fun with it. So, can't wait to see what he does with it. Now, if you want to have your vehicle featured on Viewers Vehicles, I'd very much welcome it. So, all you need to do is send me an email, 2lampsgarage@gmail.com. I'm going to put that down in the description. And you just send me 7 to 12 pictures and a paragraph or two, whatever you want to say about your vehicle, and I will feature it on here. Again, thank you to those who have submitted, and for all the rest of you, I can't wait to see what you have. As always, I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all who've already hit the like button and subscribe. If you hadn't already, please do that. It helps the channel. I mean, I'll be back again next week, hopefully, with some more content. I don't even know what it's going to be, so it's a surprise all the way around. But can't wait to see y'all again. Hang in there, stay safe, stay cool, and have a great day. Cool snack time. Y'all thought I was gone. Now, for those of y'all that know me, you know I don't drink. So you're probably puzzled by a cool snack thing. When I say cool snack, ice cream. So, anyway, cool snack time. Have a great day. Take care.